Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about a little bit sensitive topic, but it's actually quite interesting. Let me know if you prefer these kind of topics in another channel, or just keeping this channel as in like the more about like dating, traveling, and the other channel more like more philosophical and more sophisticated audience. So today I want to talk about something that mm, maybe if you heard about China, you went to Chinatown, seeing like those lot of those guys, they're doing the banners and stuff, and they're handing out handouts. Obviously, there's if you go to the one in London, there's every day there's people there. The name of the organization is Falun Gong. What is that? A lot of people don't know, especially you guys over, I think, in Latin America, I think it's not very common. In Europe, in Chinatown, there's quite a bit of what they're doing is they're basically educating people about, what they were saying about, the oppression they went through and converting, sort of like I would say, it's trying to at least trying to persuade people to practice their, how do you call that kind of thing? Like maybe it's a faith, it's a sort of martial arts thing kind of thing. So what exactly is it? So uh, I think well, I haven't really done that kind of thing, but like it's sort of like I don't know if you guys know something like qi gong. It's like sort of like Chinese martial arts where you practice some sort of like thing that you practice your qi, which is your inner energy. So it's a bit like kind of like that, and something like a bit spiritual, I think. But the thing, I have nothing against that. The thing I want to talk about today is really like why, this organization, this belief system, let's call it belief system, this ideology is, had a huge impact in China. This was what I think about 20 years ago, to the point where it completely, I mean, completely overtook the entire population, and every single person was talking about it. Like literally, I was in Shanghai at that time. Every single person on the street, in the bars, in the cafes, people playing mahjong, neighborhood, every person was talking about it. Some people said, "Oh, I did this, I did that," It became a point, it became a threat to the, to the establishments, let's say. And what happened, we all know what happened, that they had to they flee, the country, whatever. And so today I want to talk about, since it had such a huge impact, and I want to open up a discussion point as well. Why it hasn't, why the organization, the belief system had almost zero impact on the ordinary people in the West, has very, very little impact. Um, like for example, especially in in other parts of the world, Africa, Latin America, people have even never heard of it, right? It's only in the some of the developed countries in Europe, like maybe if you go to Chinatown, London, if you go to Chinatown, New York, LA, you've heard of it. Maybe there are people out there doing it. But if you ask just anybody, like any of my friends, my English friends, right, what they think about it, the answer is they either never heard of it, or they just don't give or you know. So if it has, if what I mean is the impact in the West is very, very tiny. It's very, very tiny. Maybe there's some people who who have friends doing it, but as ordinary people, just ordinary people on the street, no one's like either have never heard of it, or they don't care about it, right? So let's dive into the first reason is, you know, a lot of these Western countries already got the religion. Right? If you see, you think about it, these if you got Anglo-Saxon countries practicing it, but guess what? There's already Christianity in these countries. So a lot of the things, actually some of the things, this belief is really just mirroring Christianity, which was what? How long has Christianity been? 2000, 2000 years? This Jesus Christ, right? So there is really nothing new. And some of the belief, for example, I'll tell you in a minute. There's really nothing new about some of the things that have been said. Really, if you look at it, it's actually repetition. And if you could look at Latin America, they've already got Catholicism, right? So 90 something percent of people in Latin America are already Catholics. So how on earth are you going to convert these guys to Falun Gong, to your organization, right? That means they're going to have to take on a real, no, some people do, but very extremely rare, right? It's not a widespread or it's not widespread. So how did it become so big, you know, in China? It could be that, they know existent religion, or there is Buddhism, but the existing religion is not as strong. The impact is not as strong as, Catholicism it is in Brazil, right? If you think about it, what values people live up to in Brazil, a lot of it, the way people behave, a lot of it is Catholicism, and less so in the Northern European countries or Anglo-Saxon countries. But in South Europe, I would say Catholicism is also a big deal. So let's dive into the three things that they talk about. And I think a lot of it is already talked about in Christian, or at least in the Western democracies, right? So, for example, they say about truth, right? Truth, in Chinese we call 真善人. So truth, um, goodness, how do you say? Make a goodness in the people, and also endurance, right? Endurance is a very like complicated word in Chinese. Sometimes it can be like you're just taking the bullshit, like you're not reacting. Like for example, the word also means like if boss treat you badly, if you should just say yes. And I think some of that is down to the Confucianism, right? So did Jesus Christ actually did some of that? Like if you think about it, the Jesus Christ, like he was crucified, right? Like so he he was actually Torah. Basically, it's kind of like similar ideology, right? Um, but I'm not sure how much that is really in Christianity, the endurance part, because I think it's more that word is more of a Confucian ideology, right? At least East Asian. If you think about it, in today's world, who is actually taking the bullshit from anybody? No one, man, nobody. Right? It's called harassment. So what about the other two factors? The other two pillars, the three pillars of ideology. The other two, truth and goodness in people. Truth, a lot of the Western world already knows about. Like this is already like common knowledge, right? Like you should seek the truth, right? Nothing new here, right? And Shan, um, what's it called? The goodness in people. Yeah, that's Jesus Christ kind of, I think already said that, right? Is Shan is make be nice to people, those should be humble, be nice to people, you know. I think it's already, this is nothing like a revolutionary ideology, in my opinion. And the reason why no one, it has so little impact is really because I think it's kind of down to few very fast factors. Like, first you have the people already have Christianity in the West, right? And it's also like look at let's say Dubai, right? You already have a religion there. How on earth is Falun Gong gonna spread in Dubai? I just don't see it, right? If you think about it, the West is actually better in terms of there's more religions, right? You have Christianity, you have people believe in Buddhism, Taoism, whatever, and you have a liberal mindset in at least in the bigger cities, right? Um, so it should really be easier to persuade people, to convince people, right? To demonstrate your beliefs. But it has almost like got zero impact, I would say, compared to China, where it was huge. I mean, I was talking about 90 something percent of people are talking about it at one time, like one day, right? So it was it was huge, but then in the West, Western audience is not really, let's say, it's not really practicing, it's not really doing it, right? So, and that's largely down to, existing existing religion, existing ideologies. For example, in Brazil, you got Catholicism. So you're always gonna remain very niche, right? So yeah, so that's my take of it. I would say actually, if you think about Dalai Lama, right? Dalai Lama had very big impact in the West and still has, right? So, you know, and I would say Dalai Lama is kind of has a much bigger impact. And I would say, if you think about Buddhism as a whole, is also much bigger than this I believe, right? Buddhism also has been there, what, since Buddha, you got coming from India, you got 3,000 years, right? And it has a huge history in the dynasties in China, or now in China, Japan, Korea, right? So I think actually the biggest impact of Eastern civilization, Eastern, what do you call it, philosophy, ideology, is first is Buddhism. Second is maybe Taoism, Taoism. Some people believe in that, at least here in Europe. But Buddhism is definitely number one, and it has, a lot of similarities between different religions. So, like this new this religion has kind of similarities with Buddhism and some similarities with Christianity. But I am actually, this just says, but I'm just actually very very, how do you say, surprised when it had such a big impact in China.